So, hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, dear panelists and friends of Salamanca. I'm very happy to be here. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Spanish National Innovation Company, public company, addressed to the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism of the Government of Spain. Let me please start with a congratulation to Emilio and the Startup Ole for this 10th anniversary. We have been supporting this initiative since the beginning. I'm very honored and happy to support this initiative as it is very close to my city of Segovia. And I know very well how difficult it is to launch this kind of initiatives abroad these big cities, our big metropoles. So I'm very happy to be here another year, the 10th time. And we have several people. We have here the presence of some people who have not only dreamed big, they are real reference in the world, in the ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem. And this is really a luxury to be here with them. We are going to start with Peter Festerbaca. I don't know if I have spelled your name correctly, probably not. But I have to say that I was close to your company, to Rovio, in Helsinki 2 years ago when I was in a slash. And I was asking about the path of the company, you know, what you have done. We are very interested on it. Rovio is a unicorn, a successful story, but you are also the founder of Finest Bay Area Development. We talk sometimes about this Silicon Valley area and so on, but we have in Europe several areas that are real champions in terms of entrepreneurship. And one of them is this Finland and Estonian area that you are leading. Please tell us how does it work and what have you done in terms of Finest?
Actually, if you look at kind of like the Finest Bay Area, so it's like Finland, Estonia, Sweden, it's the most successful startup region on the planet. So we have the highest number of startups per capita, highest number of unicorns per capita, and also the highest amount of venture capital invested into local startups per capita. So if you look at kind of like OECD numbers from 21, those are actually latest that are available. Estonia was number one when it comes to amount of venture capital invested into local startups per capita. Finland was number 2, Lithuania number 3, and Sweden was number 4. And the US number 5. So if you look at all of these metrics, we're pretty successful. And I think that one of the reasons there is that we put young people in charge. So every November we have the biggest and best startup event on the planet, Slush, taking place there. 25,000 people, 160 countries. Last year we had over 1 trillion in venture capital that gathered there. So it's the biggest gathering of venture capital anywhere on the planet any given time. And of course, the capital is there because all the best startups are there. All the best startups are there because all the capital is there. So it kind of like becomes this like self-reinforcing thing. And all of that, when you come to Slush, it's all run by young people. So the young people are in charge. They're running the show. They're not just there like making coffee and handing out badges, but they are actually in charge. And every 2-3 years we cycle through, so there is like a new team running it. We have over 2,000 volunteers from more than 60 countries. So young people who are there because they want to be there, they love to be there. Nobody told them that they have to be there, but they're there because they love to be there. And then they meet with all these successful entrepreneurs, unicorn founders, you name it. And then they see that they're just like normal people. And then, you know, you do Slush, you volunteer there for a year, 2-3 years. You learn how to build the biggest and best startup event on the planet, and then you go out there and you build the biggest and best startups. And we have many, many examples of that. And as I mentioned, highest number of startups, highest number of unicorns, and the most venture capital invested into local startups. So I think that to make it short, it's about the young people, because young people are the future. biology, all people die. So that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. That's clear, extremely insightful, successful story, not only for the companies, but for the whole region. That is a good sample also for here, for Spain. Next one is Vicente Rosso. Vicente is, among many other things, it was co-founder of BlaBlaCar, another unicorn that has revolutionized the world of mobility and transport. Right now, you are the CEO of Cosentio, a B2B platform for marketing fruits and vegetables, and which we will talk about later in detail. But right now, I would like to ask you about your story in the way to get a unicorn. Please let us know.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks for the question. Always a pleasure to be here, Salamanca. Well, I think my story is a bit of a mix of hard work and great luck. It's not every day that you can cross a project like BlaBlaCar. And basically, I had a chance to jump into that adventure. I didn't know anything about digitalization to a certain extent. I knew about technology. But during that journey, I start to shift my mind toward business and how to use data to create value. So that's a bit the journey of myself. But always wanted to be an entrepreneur. To always something you want to delay. You delay because you always have great excuses to do it. And finally, I jump. I do my own startup. And in the meantime, I just cross again the path of BlaBlaCar with the founder. And I really love. I love more working for him than for my startup. So that's what I actually shift. It's a great adventure where you don't know where you start. You don't know why you start, but you don't know where you go. And you don't believe what's happening, and it goes all low. I think it was a luck because we got a mixture of many things that help us to actually thrive out and to grow really fast. The growth was huge internationally, nationally, obviously in Spain, but also outside of Spain. In France, obviously since we were there. I think that Facebook and the initial of Facebook will actually help a lot. And I think a mixture is a mixture of many things, but really happy. I'm so proud of the work that has been done, and they keep growing. Basically, I haven't been there for 5 years, and they keep on growing, and probably faster than when I was there. So it's probably not only, for sure, not due to my work.
Okay, thank you very much, Vincent, for your insight. Yes, it's really impressive. And the next one is Rodrigo El Prado. Rodrigo's case is very interesting. At a very young age, he and 5 friends founded PQ here in Spain, in Madrid, a manufacturer of electronic devices, very well known here in Spain. But Rodrigo, you are working in another several projects, but I would like to ask you about the scale-up experience, how it was like, and what the lessons you learned during this journey.
Well, thanks. Okay, thanks very much for being here. The history of BQ, is like condensed, where was more than 10 years. So for sure there was a process of scaling up the company. The biggest difficulty we had there was hiring people in the team. That's the thing that was, among others, right? Because you have things with sales, you have things with competitors, but building a team that is able to make decisions on their own and that you can rely on them and ask them if things are going good or are not going good, and you can rely on them so you can focus on different things, was the biggest challenge. We managed to build a nice team in all the areas, not only in engineering. That is normally the thing we are most recognized for, but also in the sales team and with young people. So it was, I think, the best part of the experience was making a team out of young people, not young anymore, but in that moment we were young, that were able to compete with multinationals with a structure and history for years and years and years, and we have no experience in managing also, so we build a company not based on standards, but based on what works and what doesn't work or didn't work. And at the end, we see the structure and see, okay, it's similar to other companies, so that's why people do like that. But we didn't do like that before because people were doing like that, right? We see what is working. So the lesson I will say would be try to be surrounded by people that is more capable than you and knows more than you. So the team is the key.
This is a real good lesson. Okay, thank you very much, Rodrigo. Moving forward, we have José del Barrio. José del Barrio is John know by Enisa, not all John, by Enisa. He is the co-founder of La Nevera Roja, and currently is founder and co-manager of Samaipata. Samaipata is a very important venture capital whose motto is to be bold. That is a great motto. Jose has been launching, supporting several companies, also your own company, La Nevera Roja. Please let us know how is your experience, how was your experience to try to scale up a company, as you have done.
So it is true though that, well, first of all, thanks for having me here today. Thank you, Jose, for the introduction, and also Emilio and the Startup Ole team for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here with you guys. First of all, La Nevera Roja was not a unicorn as Robio or others, just to keep it...
Neither was we too.
Not yet.
But it is true though that we had an interesting experience, because in a very short period of time, we were able to scale quite quickly. So as a reference, we went from 0 to 100 million valuation exit in less than 40 months. So that's 3 years, well, less than 4 years. So that allowed us to learn a little bit about how to scale companies quickly and where are those key success factors. And maybe I want to share 2 of them in case are useful for entrepreneurs these days. So the first one is related to being really, really aggressive when you think you've achieved product market fit, you have a strong product market fit, and you think that the timing of the market is the right one. That was our case. So the food delivery space was booming back in 2013, 14, when we started scaling exponentially. Was a very, very bold decision we made. We took a lot of risk, but the reality is that the numbers were telling us that the product market fit was there. We had great customer love, retention, organic. We found very powerful distribution channels, and at the same time, the market was really pulling really hard. And we saw that big competitors were entering into Spain. We saw a lot of things happening around the world, and that's going to be my second point. And we thought that was the time to push the pedal. And as there is a very usual, like a say in Silicon Valley that says, go big or go home. And I think we followed that path, not without taking maybe too much risk. And looking in hindsight, was a lot of risk, but that allowed us to really get to the very top of mind of consumers, achieve leadership in the market. And that is a good segue to the second point I wanted to share is, focusing on the real big picture. So really understanding what's going on in the market globally. So not in your country, not in your town, not in your office, not in your product. It's more what is really going on globally. So what are the driving forces of the market? What are the big competitors doing right now? What is going to be the next move? And I think that we did that very well, and that was one of the key success factors at that time. As I said, the food delivery business was growing very quickly, and there were two companies going public, so about to be listed, in the US on the one hand, and in Europe there were a couple of them that were also about to be listed. And we really thought that we kind of put that in, we paired that with another idea, which was, well, these guys are going to raise a lot of money because they are going public. They are going to raise hundreds of millions or multi-billion-dollar valuations. At the same time, this is a winner-takes-it-all market. As this is a winner-takes-it-all market per geography, per country, the number one position in each country is going to be really, it's going to have a lot of strategic value. So we need to do whatever it takes to be the leaders in our market. And that's why we took a lot of risk. And we saw these behemoths really raising tons of money. And instead of being scared at that point, we say, okay, let's try to be the leaders here, and let's not jeopardize our leadership position. That we compete head-to-head with Just Eat, which was a public company, a listed company in the UK. And obviously they were giant. It was Goliath against David. But we won. We managed to outcompete them. And I think that, to me, it's a lesson of sometimes you need to be bold and take those calculated risks, and that's the only way to create a real asymmetric value.
Thank you very much, Jose. Great experience and great lessons as well. Thank you for it. And last but not least, we have Sandra. Sandra Cerrada is the president of the Young Entrepreneurs of Madrid. This is an organization we work with from Nice as well, with more than 400 members right now, if I'm not wrong. Okay, Sandra, you see a lot of projects, a lot of entrepreneurs. Please let us know what would you recommend to anyone who is starting out as an entrepreneur and wants to scale up the business. We are talking about scale up with biggest champions and unicorns, but from the point of view of the organization, from your point of view, so many people, so many members you have in the organization, what could you recommend? What is your experience, your feedback from this?
Okay. Good morning. First, I want to say thank you very much for this invitation. And for me, I am really grateful to say in this important round table with all this college. And about your question, I used to say my members when they come to our association, because they are interested to create a startup, I used to say, like, you should determine and identify a real problem or user problem, and also you have to give a cover and a solution. No? This is maybe the first step to create a company. The second thing, I agree with Jose when just say, like, you have to analyze all the market, not just the market close to you or the nationals, just the global market, because you need to determine your business model. Like, for example, you need to know about your competitors and client, and also you determine a business plan. This is really important because, you know, the business plan is like the ways and the ways you need to follow to get a successful for your company. So another say, like, is really important. You have to seek funds, because you need money, capital to create a startup to your company, and also if you want to grow, it's really important. You have to get a funds. So from our association, we have all the people interested to create a company, and also we give apps the case and the tips, the essential and basic tips to start the companies.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. We have time for another second round, very short, please, but we have still a bit time. Let's go to you, Rodrigo. You have been competing in BQ against not billion, trillion market companies. It is easy. I can imagine it's not easy to inspire and motivate your people in the team that it's possible to do it and keep the people, keep the talent to you. Please let us know how have you done it.
That was, I mean, the problem was not competing because since you are able to make the product, then it's product versus product. So in that,
In the market, at least.
yeah,
Competing, but very close to that.
there are volumes of manufacturing that affects to the price, but yet in that moment the market was growing, so it's not fighting against. It's taking a piece of a cake that is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In the moment the cake stops to grow, then you have to fight for the piece of the cake. So retaining the people in the company was a challenge because there you see the competition. The other companies can pay 20, 30, 40, even if they want to go for this guy, not because that guy was good or not, because it's important for you and they want to take it out from you, so to make you weaker. That was a problem because in that situation you cannot compete. What we found, and there were very brilliant people that left the company, and they were brilliant in the other companies. They were brilliant people because everybody were brilliant in some aspects. That go out and then come back, even losing money because we cannot pay. But at the end of the day, you pay your bills. Earning more or less is less important than having a project that motivates you. Because if you go to a big company thinking you are gonna be able to make more things because that company has more resources, and you find out that that company, all decisions are taken in Asia, and you are a mere salesperson or whatever, then you realize, okay, is it worth to earn 20,000 euros more, or is it worth to be in projects that I cannot do it in any other place? So our advantage is that around Spain or even Europe, there were no companies doing what we were doing. So people that want to do that, they can only work with us. So that's the way of retaining them, giving them the possibility of doing things that were not possible to do, at least in the region, right, in the continent. That becomes part of the culture of the company, doing things by our own. So trying to do everything. You don't, for sure there are things you hire and service providers that go there and provide you services, but we were not the kind of company hiring a lot of consultancy firms to do marketing analysis or whatever. We try to do everything by ourselves. And then on the sales was another place of fight with the competitors, because there the differences were higher. They can invest more money in marketing than us, so we have to find ways of doing the marketing by ourselves and not spending so big money and trying to compete. And it worked for a lot of years. So I think the resume of this is, the summary of this is that you can do it. So you don't have to think they are bigger than us, so we cannot do it. You have to think, okay, I want to do this. How should I do to achieve my goal?
Let's do it. That's right?
do it, yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. And coming back very quick to you, Sandra, what would you say is the most common mistake that companies have when they are trying to grow, not to start, to grow?
Okay, for my personal opinion, I think maybe there are companies like they haven't found their space in the market because maybe there is maybe they are in situation in a red ocean or maybe they don't create a space for them. So I think the most common is when the companies they are offering the same products, the same service without a conditional additional value. So another thing, or maybe another thing is possible, and the companies maybe they don't have a good enough funds to growth, or maybe to expand, or maybe to launch on the international market, for example. So maybe this is my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and very interesting. Vincent, well, we are in Spain growing very fast in the area and the ecosystem of startups, also with the regulation, with the startups law, with investment, has been multiplied by 5 in the last year. We have two important hubs, one of the most important hubs in Europe, Madrid and Barcelona. Okay, but we are right now in Salamanca, that is a city that is not so big. And I would like that you could explain or at least think about how, in your opinion, would business model like yours with BlaBlaCar in terms of mobility could help us with the problem or looking for the solution to the problems like food inflation or España vaciada. You mean in the areas where there is not so many people, not big hubs, something like that. In your experience, how could you help with this? A business model like yours, I mean.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great question and a really important problem to solve. But at the same time, we are going into that directions. I mean, since COVID, we learn how to work from a remote distance. We learn, but probably not so effectively, how to work as a team in a remote distance. So basically, I think this is an opportunity for what you call the España vaciada, to develop, to find new models to help people to get back to where they come from. And basically, for instance, in the company, in the startups I have right now, we have people, everyone, we don't have offices and everyone working remote. So we have people in Valladolid, we have people in Valencia, we have people in Barcelona, but outside Barcelona. So at the end of the day, tech team and also salespeople looking for another way to work, another way to balance work-life. And I think this is a great opportunity for the fact that we know how to do it. We've been taught to do that during COVID, and now we can like it or less. We want to do it more or less, but we know a bit more how to do it. So it's an opportunity. Some companies might like it or not.
Okay, thank you, Vincent. Thank you very much. Jose, coming back to you, and Peter, you're the last because I want to close with the most important thing in my opinion. But Jose, before, you have a lot of experience as an entrepreneur, but also as founder right now in Samaipata, also with people like Eduardo Diaz Hotliner. You have a great experience. You are seniors in terms of entrepreneurship. When the new entrepreneurs come to you looking for funding and serious advice, what is their most frequent question? Would they ask to you?
Yeah, I think there is one thing that is very frequently asked, and it's a very relevant topic, has to do, well, it's in a way the other side of the coin of my comment before about being very bold when you achieve product market fit. This is a little bit the opposite. It's like what is called premature scaling, or scaling before you've achieved product market fit. And this is a very, very, very important topic. It happens more frequently when there is abundance of capital in the market. Not these days, maybe. These days it's less frequent, but it's very common. It's fairly common. It's basically our advice to those founders is really watching very, very closely where are you in terms of product market fit. How strong is your product market distribution fit, and according to that, you take decisions, raise money, hire people, expand into new countries, etc. Based on that, right? Premature scaling is when companies that typically raise a lot of money before having a strong product market fit, which means maybe there is no retention, there is no organic growth, there is no customer love at the end of the day. Start overspending, start taking decisions that are more typical of later stages. Even doing M&A, that this is the most extreme case that I've seen, is company doing M&A pre-product market fit, which from my perspective doesn't make much sense. And that very quickly, you very quickly run into problems when you do that. You destroy the cap table. It means dilution for shareholders, destroying value, and more importantly, those things are very hard to downscale. Once you've hired 500 people, 200 people, then it's very hard then to go back, right? So premature scaling and the concept of scaling in a way that is adequate to the strength of your product market fit, that's a pivotal topic in all our conversations with founders, both in hundreds of founders that we meet every year at Samaipata, but also we are present in more than 40 companies that we've invested across Europe, and we try to give this type of advice to entrepreneurs because we do believe it's a really important one.
Thank you very much, Jose. And right now, Peter, again, you have been waiting there. Thank you very much. But I would like to finish this roundtable with some question that I think is the base one. It's not. I don't think it is really the basement of everything that is the education for entrepreneurship, for everything, and for entertainment as well. I have listened to you talk about this triple E model.
Yep.
That you are applying in finance, education, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. I really love this model. This is clear that Finland has become one of the great educational reference, so it makes sense you do it in this area. But please let us know, explain a bit how does it work, and how do you think we can extend to another countries, please?
Yeah, so I will keep it very brief because I need to head to the airport. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we really believe that like education is the foundation for everything, and I mean that's the only way to do sustainable change. So you really need to start with education. And when you talk then about entrepreneurship, I think entrepreneurship is just about like doing things, getting stuff done. So entrepreneurs are people who do things. So we need to teach doing and learning by doing all the way like from kindergarten all the way through education, and we need the earlier we start, the better. So I think that it's kind of like too late if we start to kind of like correct these things at university. So education all over the place, teaching entrepreneurship, and again, it's not rocket science, it's doing things. And then the entertainment part is that it's very important that we understand that we're competing for the attention and time of people, also with education and everything, so we need to make learning fun. And that's something that, again, we can learn from the entertainment industry, games industry in particular. So when we bring all of these like E's together, then we can achieve fantastic results. But yeah, I'll thank you now, and I'll get to the airport. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much for being here and for your experience. Honor to have to you. Thank you very much. Also, Jose, you can put, you can go out, and all of us. Thank you very much, Jose, Sandra, Vincent, Rodrigo, and thank you again, Emilio and Startup Ole, for the invitation. Thank you, and good evening. Bye.